Welcome to the Live the Call podcast, where I speak with guests living and working their soul's purpose. I'm Pamela Downs, founder of Spirit Calling and trance channeler of the Great Council of Light. Every episode, our guests share their awakening story, and together we learn how they came to live their spirit's call. Join me in tales of self-discovery, enlightenment, and transformation to amplify your healing journey. Welcome to Live the Call. Today, we're thrilled to have Priscilla Hanley join us.
Thank you, Pamela. I'm so glad to be here.
You have a lot of experience, and from military to, working with animals and speaking light language. And these are all the things that we say, like, once we open ourselves up to the unknown, to these gifts that we're innately born with that we really don't understand or identify until we reach that pivotal moment in our life, that, it's a whole other world. So today, this podcast is called Live the Call. It serves as an inspiration to our audience and our community members to show people who have heard that little whisper of their spirit calling them, who have listened and they've put fear aside and they move forward to find out more, and they're actually living and working their soul's work. So I would love for you to kind of tell us what that journey looked like and how you started doing. How did you get to the point where you're working with horses and animals and light language?
Oh gosh, it's been a surreal journey, but I guess I should start from the beginning.
Mm,
So I was born and raised in Singapore, and I grew up in a very Catholic household. So I was baptized after birth. And after, I still remember, like at 5 years old, my great grandmother used to yell at me at 6 o'clock every evening, like, come inside, you have to pray the rosary. So I still have, very strong memories of me, kneeling in front of the rosary, in front of the altar and praying the rosary with my great grandmother. So just to give you and the audience context of how much religion played a role in my life.
yeah.
And so, yeah, we've, always gone to church. I went to catechism, Sunday school and all that stuff. So I got married at 21 to a Singaporean man, and that marriage was a disaster because, I was 21, I was young, and so was he. He was like 25, 26. And so, there was a lot of emotional and verbal abuse in that marriage. And I was young, so I took it. I took it for 9 years. And after 9 years, I kind of just had my feel of the emotional abuse, and I decided to file for divorce. So, long story short, we got divorced. I moved back in with my parents. My life was in shambles, trying to pick up the pieces. So then I started going to church a lot because I was trying to find my way back home, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I went to church like 3, 4 times a week, trying to ask for guidance from God. And so um, it's strange because the more I went to church, um, I guess that's when my awakening really started, because I started to realize, like, hey, I'm kind of getting tired of being less than, like, I have to do X, Y, Z to please God, or else, like, I'm gonna burn in hell. And so that fear-based teaching didn't resonate with me anymore. And so then I quit going to church, and I was basically done with religion. I just wanted to just live my life like a thinker. And so
Mm-hmm.
that's what I did for quite a number of years. And so I did not want to get into another relationship with a man because I just got out of a bad marriage. And so I just kind of said, I'm just gonna focus on me for a while. And so I got myself a job, and my boss was an American man, a very nice guy. I was very happy working there. And so after like about 6 months on the job, my boss's friend, who is an American man, came to Singapore for a visit, for a vacation. So he went into the office to see my boss, his friend. And that's when I met this guy. I'll I'll say his name is Richard, but that's not his real name, okay? So that's how I met Richard. And so we shook hands, we had conversations. And so when Richard goes back to Florida, he starts emailing me and starts a conversation, a communication with me. So, like I said, I didn't want to have a relationship, but the universe had other plans for me. So we started, back and forth communication. And, you know, he came back to Singapore in May for my birthday, and we got along so well. And we decided to like be together because, we really enjoyed each other's company. And so within 30 days, I put my whole life in a suitcase and I moved to Florida in June, right?
Wow. Wow. What a big
And
change.
yeah. Um, and the thing is, if I had 1 ounce of fear, I wouldn't have done it,
Mhm.
but it felt right. And I think, come to like thinking back now, I think my higher self was just kind of like telling me this is the right way to go, just do it. So I did it. And so we got married, and I had a lovely life. I traveled around the world, had a lot of fun. And then one day I wake up and it's like 4 years into the marriage. And I just realized, like, I've been having a lot of fun, but what have I done for myself? Like,
Mhm.
I don't have a job, I don't really have, I mean, I didn't have a degree at that time. So I just felt like I want to do something for myself. I either want to get a job or I want to go back to school. And so my husband was very supportive. And so a family member told me, he said, why don't you join the army? You get free education, you travel around the world, you get to do a lot of cool stuff. So that appealed to me at that time. And so I went down to the recruiters and I signed up to join the army. And so it was about a month or so later, I shipped off to Oklahoma for basic training. And it was
Wow.
in the dead of winter in January. And when I got there, we were yelled at. We had to like get down and do push-ups and all that stuff, right? And
Dear
I
Priscilla.
had I had a moment and I just said, "Oh my God, Priscilla, what did you get yourself into?" Right? But yeah, so I hung on, and I had a blast in the army actually. But then in 2016, 2017, I found myself in Afghanistan. And that was a very rough experience, needless to say. And
Mm.
so in 2017, when I returned to the US, I kind of knew like I was very burnt out, and I knew that I wanted to do something else. And so I decided to, separate from the army, fulfill my contract. So in 2019, I separated from the army. And then it wasn't long after I separated that my mother-in-law had cancer and she was put in hospice. And so obviously we were all there to, take care of her. And she passed after a few weeks. And so when she passed, I started to question. I put thoughts out into the universe, and I was like, I just saw her a few hours ago and now she's gone. I want to know where she's at. Like, where did she go?
Mhm.
Where are
Yes.
you? Right?
Hmm. Hmm.
So that led me to down the rabbit hole, really. I started reading a lot of books. I signed up for Gaia TV. Have you heard of Gaia TV?
Oh, yeah. You
Yeah.
and I have very similar stories, except for the military part.
So I signed up for Gaia TV and I was immediately drawn to this show. It's called Interview with the Extra Dimensionals, Ruben
Hmm.
Langdon. So I immediately zoomed into three channelers. It was first was Paul Selig, second was Jamie Price, and the third was Lisa Royal Holt. And so I saw Paul Selig at a workshop in person, and he's a phenomenal channeler. I took light language classes with Jamie Price, and then Lisa Royal Hall. She's really the one that really resonated with me out of the three of them. And so I started to dig into her work and come to find out that on her website, she has a lot of contact meditations. But let me back up first. So Lisa Royal Holt has been channeling galactic energies since the 1980s. she channels all kinds of ET beings. So I was very fascinated by that. So, like I said, I started digging into her work and I find out that she has contact meditation audios on her website. So I thought, you know what, I'm just going to try this and see what happens, right? So I remember the first audio that I listened to, it was, about 8 o'clock at night. I usually do it before I go to sleep. So the first audio was contact meditation with the Hyperion group. So Hyperion is like a light being kind of group, and they reside at Hyperion, which is the moon of Saturn. So I said, okay, I'll just give it a try. And so I meditated and I fell asleep. And then I tell you what, at 2 a.m. in the morning, boom, this big cinema screen opens up. And so I was seeing everything with my third eye, right? I was kind of like in theta brainwave state. And so I saw the words love, peace, joy. It was like huge, love, peace, joy. And then the energy like kind of dissipated, and then it changed into like the zodiac signs or the star systems and all that. And that went on for like 2 or 3 seconds. And then the energy dissipated. So when I woke up, I was like, oh my God, what just happened, right? So I knew it had something to do with Lisa's contact meditation. So I was intrigued. So I started doing more and more contact meditations. And it wasn't long before the ETs started coming to visit me. And I still get visions at night. Um, However, I mean, the ETs come and visit. However, I've also started traveling to other timelines, other dimensions. And so I have witnessed myself as pure consciousness. I'm still me, but without a body. And I've seen myself traveling in deep space at the speed of light. I'm like whizzing by star systems and planets. And then all of a sudden, I just boom, I go into a dimension or a parallel reality. And I'm like kind of suspended in midair, and I'm just kind of observing things at the bottom, what's going on at the bottom. And yeah, it's very trippy to see, it kind of just blew my mind because I've always been very afraid of dying. But now I'm not, because
Yeah.
I know that we go on, because I literally saw myself without a body and I was in space and I was having a great time.
This is just one place where we exist right now simultaneously. And you sound, from someone who's hearing your story. We've met, we've had conversations, but I'm really diving into your personal story right now. For anyone who's listening to you for the first time, you sound fearless. I mean, you move from Singapore to Florida, you go into the army, like your energy, the map of you does do that. Like you see that you are able to go to a new opportunity, go and do something, get into the next thing. You're moving fast and stepping into this new part of what you're supposed to do quickly as well, because you're meant to. And that's part of who you are. It's really
I
interesting.
think so. I resonate with that. I used to have a lot of fear when I was in Singapore. I feel like my soul chose a very interesting journey for myself. So I started with, with the darkness, right? With a troubled marriage, a nasty divorce, even with the army. Although I had, very pleasant experiences with the army, but truth be told, it was hard. It was very hard. It's hard because I gave up my voice, I gave up my freedom willingly. I signed on the dotted line and they took away my freedom and my voice. And I'm not saying that I'm a victim, because I gave them my freedom and my voice, but that was a very it's just something that my soul needed to experience. And now I look at myself today, I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum where, I have my own business. I'm not restricted by, schedules or rules and regulations. I make my own rules and regulations.
Time and space.
Right.
You're not even bound by that, right?
Right.
Mhm.
So yeah, I do see that I've chosen a very interesting journey, and I embrace everything that I've gone through in my life, because without the difficulties, I wouldn't be here where I'm at today. You know,
Yes. Yeah.
they call it a holographic universe, right? So if you
Mhm.
remove one piece of my experience, the whole picture changes, right? So I'm not going to be who I am in this moment if I didn't go through all that I had to go through.
Yeah. And it's beautiful to tell your story to others who might be in the beginning parts of theirs, who understand, now by seeing it could be challenging. It could be hard. You could be in a space where you don't have a voice, where you're in a negative relationship, or there's anger, or there's violence. Who knows what's in there? But that contrast is allowing them to have a greater expansion and understanding of consciousness and their spirit and the world. Um, so that's why we do this, so that people can be inspired and can understand that what they're going through now, they have to embrace it and understand it's part of the story of them. It's part of the story of this experience on planet Earth. And
Right.
we always talk about that ebb and flow and that up and down and bright and dark and contrast. What goes down must go up and vice versa. So there's inevitably going to be another contrast to that experience on the other side.
Right.
Um, I just keep hearing fearless, fearless. So I think that that's amazing. It's really cool. It's amazing, because I don't hear that all the time. But so you weren't scared at all. I mean, I have similar, very sim. You and I are very similar. We have very similar experiences at the night, in the night, the screens, the words, ways that they communicate to you to make you feel comfortable, to know that they're starting, and ETs and all of that stuff. And I did it alone. And it sounds like you did it alone without, but you had the help of some, online friends or support systems. And can you talk about that and that experience of, were you scared at all, or did you yearn to have someone to connect with or communicate with?
Yeah, I mean, it was very lonely in the beginning when I
Hmm.
first started awakening, because I didn't know what was going on. And, the people that, I mean, although my husband, I obviously told my husband, he was the only one that understood. But, it's nothing like having a community that understands you. So that's why I really applaud you for what you're doing to have this community for people, because, like I said, the spiritual journey can be very lonely and isolating.
Hmm.
So, I think for me, when I started taking light language classes with Jamie Price,
Hmm.
I met a few women who are also of the same vibration, same wavelength as I am. And so they're still very dear friends today. And really, I think the universe just kind of understands me, my deepest desires, my deepest intentions. So if I was feeling lonely, I think the universe knew and put me in classes so that I can connect with people. And so now I have a handful of really dear friends who, like I said, understand where I'm coming from, and they know about my experiences with ETs, and they're okay with that,
Hmm.
right? However, I have to say, like, my family, my parents are still in Singapore, and they're still rooted in the Catholic religion. And so they don't know, like,
Hmm.
about much about me and my experiences. And that's okay, because
Yeah.
everybody's on their own journey. And so I don't feel it's my place to kind of impose my experiences or my beliefs on people who will probably not understand or maybe cause fear. So I don't
Hmm.
want to do that. So I just, let it be. I stand in my own power, and I know I am um, connected with the higher power, with my ET family, with my
Hmm.
spirit guides. I know that I am very tuned in, and so I'm okay. I acknowledge that people are on their own journey, and that's okay.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that too, because oftentimes we always say that people on this journey, you're learning so many new things and you want to share it with the world, but not everyone is ready to hear it. And sometimes you have to have these experiences that make you not coward, but learn boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
Finally getting to a point of understanding you're standing in your power, It's not necessary for everyone. If they want to know more, they'll come to you and they'll ask you about it, right? And that's beautiful witness to be able to share that. Thank you. My mom too doesn't understand it and doesn't really want to, and that's good. I mean, it's fine because it's good for everyone because
Right.
she has her belief systems and she's happy and I'm happy and everyone's able to get along. When you start having that contrast and putting boundaries on it, you don't understand me and all this stuff. It's not benefiting you. It's not working
Mm-hmm.
for you. It's working against you.
Right.
Okay, so for those people who are just understanding or hearing light language, can you explain to them what that was like when you started feeling it and hearing it? And I see it too,
Mm.
so you can also see it. People may not even know what that is, so why don't we tell them a little bit about that?
Sure. So like I took like language classes from Jamie Price, like I said earlier. But during her class, it's interesting because I could not speak like language. I could only like draw a little bit of the symbols here and there. And I think I had massive blockages in my throat chakra for
Mm.
whatever reason. And so when I got done with light language, I just put it aside and I was like, you know what? Like, yeah, this is not working for me. So I just put it aside. And last year I took a 10-month channeling program with Lisa Royal Holt, and it was such an intense journey. It's like facing your ego, facing your doubt, facing your fears, right? And
Hmm.
it was a really a self-exploration journey into who I am. And so it was a very intense journey. So when I was done, like the following week, light language activated for me. So I think
Interesting.
I had to do a lot of work. I think I wasn't
Yes.
ready at that time
Yes.
for at Jamie's class. And so light language activated for me and it hasn't stopped. So anyway, for those who don't know, light language is a cosmic language that comprises of sound frequency, light, sacred geometry, and cosmic information. So it is a very powerful healing modality because it bypasses the ego mind, right? Because the channeler channels it as tones and sounds. So the channeler doesn't know what is being said and the client doesn't know what is being said. So the tones and sounds go really into your heart and into your soul. And so your soul does understand what is being conveyed, the wisdom that's being conveyed, but it's just the ego mind is, not in out of the process, which is a good thing.
Hmm.
So for me, like language, when I get in that state, I can kind of like feel or maybe hear the words sometimes. And then when I just open my mouth to speak, it just like free flowing, free flowing sound. That's all.
Yeah, free flowing
Yeah.
sound. And I grew up in Catholic like you, and then my mother and my father moved to like a, I don't know what the word is, a full gospel kind of Christian church, and there was laying on hands and there was speaking in tongues and all of
Mm-hmm.
that. That's what it is. It's basically the same thing because you're heightening your vibration so high when you're praising God and you're in the space of gratitude and you're in receivership mode. You're able to tap in when you're at that high vibration and it downloads into you and you can't, because I've experienced that first coming in and your tongue starts moving and the
Mm-hmm.
sounds start happening and the frequency is so heightened and it's the coolest experience for people who haven't experienced it yet. And there's all different kinds of it. And so it's like, um, it's beautiful to witness too. I'm sure like your writing is beautiful because it's hieroglyphics. It's
It
basically
is.
different
Yeah.
different symbols and they're not like anything that we've known. And I've often looked at like just languages that are written in our world. They're basically they come from different star systems. They come from different frequencies, all of them. That's how
Right.
our planet was created and originated. So it's so fascinating. So do you speak it on demand? Do you call it
Yeah.
in?
If you
How
want,
easily?
I can
I
do
love
like
it. Yes,
oh yeah,
please,
okay,
Priscilla.
okay. Let's you wanna get in the energy with me?
Sure, I
Okay,
would love
sure,
to.
okay. Okay. Um, oh, and I'll call on my higher self and my spirit guides to step forward and to assist in this light language transmission. for the highest good and well-being of all present here. Raista nakia me isha ema esta. Jonoki esta né. Praia manesta aqui. Sho olha Mea kakesta wa. Meosta aqui. Shaona que ia. Me mia que kesta wa. Ista na que. Preosta a. Mea mai. Shaista. Preia kikia na I. She ia que. Meosta na ki. Meista na. Prai. I ia que kia. Meesta ea ka kena wa a. Shaona kia. Peista na kia. Shei esta na kia sha a.
Man, did I feel that in my third eye? Or not my third eye, in my pineal gland.
Oh yeah, wow.
That was cool.
Thank you. That
You're
was
welcome. It was beautiful.
I'm sweating.
Because the guides are so happy. The guides want me to do this and bring this forward and show people this and make them learn it and become comfortable with it, and who haven't seen it before. So thank you for doing that. And
No, no
the guides
worries.
were shaking my head, and I could feel that resonating in the front of my head and in my pineal gland. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you. My pleasure. It was my honor.
You're like, what are we doing on the show today? We're doing that. um, so how did this transition into like the next part of how did you know what you were to do next? You did the channeling workshop. That was a long one. That was 10 months, you
Yeah,
said.
10
That was
months, yeah.
long. Yeah. And then this just started. And then what came next?
You know what? I don't have a plan, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. Um, I just feel like I know I'm being divinely guided and supported
Mm-hmm.
because when I first started my business, I left my job in April of 2023. And let's just say 2023 was a very scary year for me because I left my job and I was like, how do I run this business? I have no idea about,
Mm-hmm.
running a business. And so I did a lot of meditation and I was like, help, I need help, right? And so I one day in meditation, I had a conversation with Source and I said, Source, I took the leap of faith and I don't know what I'm doing. I have no idea how to run this business. I need your assistance and guidance. And I said, my human perspective is very limited and I'll make a deal with you. All I can do is focus on what is in front of me and what brings me joy. That is my part of the agreement. And I said the other big part, like making money, looking for clients, like, all the other stuff. I was like, I just got to leave that to you because I have no clue.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And all I did was put one foot in front of the other every day. And I started getting like downloads, like do this, do that, go here, go there. And so I just followed those hunches. And now I have like a podcast.
It's
I have
amazing.
a coaching practice. I have what you call that, Reiki practice. I do light language. I'm like, whoa, okay. I know I'm being guided and supported. I'll just let it go. And when I get the downloads, now I know like the best thing for me to do is just follow the downloads that I get and not resist.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm doing. That's my plan, following my downloads.
I think that's perfect. I think that's beautiful. And I think that that's the way that we're supposed to. We're not supposed to struggle with it. We're not supposed to work so hard at it. We're supposed to flow within it and to let ourselves be guided and let the information be received. And it's hard because I run two businesses. I run a business that's my full-time business, and then I do this. other business, Spirit Calling, on, in addition
Mm-hmm.
to it, because I have such passion for it. And they're two different kinds of businesses. They're totally different. One is, it's in corporate, it's a different energy to it. And this is more of like what you said. So I have to kind of switch my brain back and
Right.
forth to try to, make it, not make it, but like work with it. And to anyone who's thinking about stepping into this and leaving their corporate job, it's not easy. It's not an
No.
easy thing. It's not at all, because we've become used to, working a certain way that is respected and received from everyone. And there's if you're working for a corporation, there's a salary and there's packages and there's vacations. When you're working for yourself, there's none of that. It's you're completely in creation mode, and
Yeah.
you're flying out, free flying by yourself to create what you want for your future. So there's a different vibration, a different energy with it, right?
Right.
And
Right.
if it's your passion, you're sitting in that seat of anything is possible. It's amazing. It's amazing. So I'm really happy for you that you took that leap and that you listened to the guidance and you received the guidance to listen to the guidance and the way that you connected with your guides. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still learning. I still
Mm-hmm.
have I'm a human, right? I have my
Mm-hmm.
up and down days, and so when I get my down days, I know that I just need to stop what I'm doing and just check in and do
Mm-hmm.
meditation and tune in. And so I guess I'm more aware of the inner critic, the ego mind. When ego
Mm-hmm.
mind acts up, I just know to just step back and, you know,
Mm-hmm.
like go within
Yeah.
to
Go with it.
to find the wisdom within.
That's beautiful. I really want to understand a little bit more about the animal work that you do, because I find that fascinating. And I'm a part of this new spiritual TV network, and there's a couple people that have shows that work with animals, or they do healing on animals, or they speak with animals, and I find that so fascinating. So, how did you find that path? I know you listened and you followed, but tell me more about it.
Yeah, it's just Reiki because my company, Pristine Soul Healing, started out as my Reiki practice. And so I do Reiki, on individuals and couples. And I am a huge animal lover. And I have a soft spot for like dogs, cats, and horses. And I say, you know what, I'll do Reiki on them. And
Mhm.
so, yeah, I just do distance, strictly distance. And for me, that I feel it's more powerful for me when
Mm.
I do distance because, my client is comfortable in their own space and I'm comfortable in my own space. And the fact that we have distance between us is, in my opinion, is a good thing
Mhm.
because uh, it increases neutrality and objectivity. So when I am neutral and when the Reiki energy comes through, I feel it's more palpable and more powerful. And so I can be what you call that, objective and neutral conduit.
Yeah.
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 So,
I tried to do Reiki on my doggy. I have a little
oh,
doggy. He has one thing that's wrong with him. There's nothing wrong with him because he's perfect. But he has one little thing that never goes away. And they tried to do surgery. And I do Reiki on him. But I was trained in Reiki 1. So I don't have Reiki 2 and Reiki 3. But I did it for fun, just because I thought it would be fun to put energy in him. And I could feel the energy
yeah.
connecting to him. And it's so beautiful. Um, well, you have really, you just like, I just keep hearing fearless, fearless. So whatever
Oh,
is
thank
to
you.
come for you in the future, it's going to be amazing. And I want you to, of course, to tell everyone where they can find you. And obviously I'm going to put all of that information in the show notes. But I just want you to tell people, like, what you're looking for. Or what is it that your ideal client that you would love to help? Somebody who is, and then follow that by where people can find you.
Well, for Reiki, actually my business, I typically work with women. And so for my Squarespace web design, I work with women entrepreneurs, healers, and coaches. Like I said, Reiki, women, and the animals, right? And light language, I actually work with both men and women. Um, and my coaching is also strictly for women who are divorcing or who have recently divorced, or
Mm.
having a difficult time getting their life back on track after relationship issues or life challenges. And so I really felt guided to um, offer forgiveness coaching, because I find that our society has a lot of misunderstanding about what forgiveness is and what forgiveness is not. And so
Mm.
I just felt that I needed to somehow do my part to kind of like change that narrative a little bit. And so, yeah, typically my ideal client is women of all ages and dogs, cats, and horses. um, and light language, I'm open to anybody. Like I can even do like language on children. It just, just
Hmm. Yeah. I think really it's beautiful though to help women, because you've gone through all of those things apply to them, and they have pets, and they have their relationships. It's really women who have gone through what you've gone through, so you can help guide them to show them there's so many things they could do. Forgiveness is huge.
Mhm.
If you're able to help people with forgiveness, it'll change their whole entire life. It opens them
Yes.
up. Yeah, it's incredible. Um, I'm just so grateful that you could join us today, Priscilla, and I'm really happy that we met. And I'd love to stay connected with you and share more of your work with our community. And I will put all of your contact information in our show notes.
Yep.
And until next time, I hope that Priscilla inspired you to remember that within every moment lies the call to listen to your spirit. It's there. Listen to it, and then answer it and honor it, and always live the call. And thank you so much for tuning in.
Thank you, everybody.
I hope today's episode sparked insights for you on your healing journey. If you're searching for support and connection, you should join our community at spirit-calling.com. Spirit Calling is a like-minded community of spiritual individuals learning, sharing, and growing together every day. No matter what you're experiencing in your journey, you'll find resources and a community to support you along the way. Until next time, keep listening to your internal guidance and stepping into your spirit's call.